Hello, I'm Dr. Sue Morter of Morter Institute for Bioenergetics and Healing, and welcome to The Short Answer. What we do at The Short Answer is give you a short answer. It's kind of amazing how that works, and I try very hard to make it short, but there's a lot to say and there's a lot to put together. But what we're trying to do always in The Short Answer is drop it in with one message for you to walk away and have something to remember over the course of the next weeks or the month until we plug in again, so that you can carry with you an anchoring that allows you to remember that there is only one thing happening here, and it is good. And that one thing that is happening here is always good, and there are no exceptions. And so here we are at a time in our nation's life that there is a lot of turmoil, there is a lot of ambivalence, there is a split of consciousness in so many areas with so many people, and this idea of unity seems to have just scattered, it has splatted. And as you know, in the Energy Codes coursework, what I'm interested in us recognizing is that all of life is always going to give you the opportunity to splat. Because if the opportunity to splat is there, you can awaken to your ability to pull yourself together again. Every time there is something that you bump into that is just hard, it's just hard to understand how could this be, or how could things go a different way, or if things are going the way that you want them to go, but everyone around you seems to be upset and it's creating dissonance between you and friends. There is a split that is happening, and that split that is happening for a reason, and that reason is good. Okay? So how do we wrap our minds around that? The way that we wrap our minds around that is to not use our minds. We have to use our heart. And we all know that the journey from the head to the heart is the challenging one. We know that moving from here to here doesn't seem safe, it doesn't seem smart, it doesn't seem possible at times. And the reason that it doesn't seem possible at times is because we have to go deeper than just the heart if we ever want to tether ourselves in the heart space. Deeper than the heart means come into your core, come into your belly, come deeper into yourself in a manner that allows you to recognize that I'm okay. Start breathing in your belly when you start thinking about the nation being split. Start squeezing your heart so that you can feel yourself in the heart space when you start thinking about the challenges of the conversations at Thanksgiving or at Christmas or at New Year's, the holidays, and being around family or being around friends that maybe have differing opinions about what is happening, or different concern or consideration about what is happening. Allow yourself to drop into a deeper space. When you drop into that deeper space, you come closer into the grand neutrality. That grand neutrality is heaven on earth. And you are intended to be walking around revealing all the ways that heaven on earth is surfacing. And in the midst of that, what happens is you find a different way of perceiving. So how do we find heaven on earth in the face of a split nation and differing opinions and disappointments and fears and concerns that those that are having fears and concerns right now are having? How do we do that? We have to drop into the body and recognize that everything that is happening is an opportunity for me to recognize a deeper part of myself than I was in touch with before. If there are things, ideals that you are carrying as what you want the nation to be like, what you want our policies to be, what you want our procedures and our systems to be, and who you want to be our decision makers because you want the kinds of decisions to be made that you want to be made, when you're thinking about all of that, recognize that this provides you an opportunity to lead, to find in the midst of confusion, to find in the midst of the darkness or the ambivalence or the cluelessness that it feels like you're in, that in those moments are the moments that you get to reach inside and be the leader of a unifying conversation. You get to be the leader, the bringer of something, some solution that you anticipated our country to be headed toward. It still is headed toward it. Everything is always contributing to the awakening of every individual involved. So you find a way to reach what we would call across the aisle, reach across the boundary, ask questions, inquire with people who are upset, or inquire with people who are not upset. Inquire with what you felt the other side was interested in. Because when you have a better understanding of what the other person is thinking, then you have an ability to bridge the gap, to bridge the world. What happens in these moments that feel like disempowerment is that we are made aware of our tendency to look to the outer world for our peace of mind, our potentiality, our future, and it in reality will be held inside every individual. In the consciousness of every individual in this country and around the world resides an opportunity to choose. Will you choose anger? Will you choose fear? Or will you choose peace? Will you choose a concentrated commitment, a devotion to your own stability instead of creating a wobble inside of yourself? What this is doing is it's allowing your fears to surface so that you can grab a hold of them and do something with them other than keeping them pent up deep inside. So when your fears come up, and certainly there have been many, many different discussions, many, many different statements made that are allowing many, many people to be very, very afraid. And in those moments, what I do is I drop inside and find where is it in me that is activated in this moment? Where is that coming from in me? And I squeeze it and I do the work. And you know that that work is to breathe up and down the central channel while bringing my attention to the area of the body that has a charge to it. Now, we teach that in the coursework. And that coursework is available to you if you're not engaged in the coursework to learn how to build the circuitry to find your own stability on the inside, regardless of what is happening on the outside. So I consider these circumstances the perfect opportunity for us to have amazing practice ground to find our own stabilizing factors when those concerns start through the mind and we hear things that seem crazy, that seem ridiculous, or we see so much conflict between parties or between people or between principles or philosophies or dispositions. When all of that conflict is occurring, no matter who you voted for or what your come from is, know that our job is to be the stabilizing factor in the face of the third dimension and all of the activities that happen here. When we said yes to being human, we agreed to drop into a dimension where friction would occur. And here's the friction. It is occurring. It will always be occurring in one form or another. And if the friction is big, it means you're ready for a bigger degree of circuit building to find your own stabilizing presence in the face of it. It's as simple as that. So when the stakes are high and it seems like this could be lost or that could be lost, also, it could represent how steady and how strong and how committed you are to the presence of this and this and this. So you become that. You become what it was you were hoping for. You know, I was, at one point in my life, I had a teacher that I had tremendous confidence in. And I thought, I was learning so much, and there was so much good, and there was so much power, and I was opening up and evolving so much that I couldn't believe it when this teacher ended up being completely different in some ways than I thought. When there was misappropriation of funds, when there was lies, when there were all kinds of things happening that I never could have dreamed could be possible with an individual who knew so much, who was so illuminated. And I was disillusioned, and I was just wrought with concern and disappointment because I had my hope hooked on this idea that this individual was going to pave the way for me. And as I was walking away from what I thought was going to be years of a future in a relationship there, in a community there, and I was so disillusioned, what I recognized was all I have to do is be who I thought they were. That's it. I just have to be that. So I'm completely elated to recognize that when the outer world is creating so much turmoil, that it is an invitation for me to come to know who I am in the face of this turmoil. That if everything was smooth sailing, I would not develop my own leadership. I would not be able to find the circuitry within myself to bring it forward, even when it looked like it was against all odds. So the invitation is this: be what you thought you were going to be led by, whatever that is, Because the outer world, no matter who's in charge or what they're saying or what they're standing for or what rules they're passing, it's only temporary. It's a temporary world. All of it is. And the solid, eternal truth of your inner being, regardless of your external circumstances, is what matters most. You're here to learn how to wake up to that deep, steady, internal being. That internal being is the internal being, and it offers such a stability, such an unwavering presence. And so think of all of life as an exercise in consciousness, because that's what it is. It is nothing more than that. It is an exercise in your ability to stand clear as the unwavering eternal being and be the bringer of that which you thought was going to be brought. Be the bringer of that. Stand in that. Breathe as that. Find a way to bring it as solution into the debate, into the turmoil, into the tumult. It is here for you. No exceptions. Everything that is happening in the course of your life is trying to reveal to you your magnificence. And if this is creating a wobble for you, then it is demonstrating to you where you're ready to develop next. So, how? Where? How do I begin? What do I do? Now, that's what I teach in the coursework, is showing you how to discover what part of your own consciousness is really wanting to benefit from this. This is just tumult. 50% of the nation wanted one thing, and 50% roughly of the nation wanted another thing. No matter what happened, 50% roughly of the nation was going to be upset. So why not allow it to be fine as it landed? And those that are having to reach deeper still, it's because you're ready now to do so. So let it be in your favor. Let everything be in your favor. No exceptions. It is all helping me to find where and how to build this structure inside the core of this being so that I can ultimately rise up and illuminate myself in a much more grand way than I ever thought possible. There is so much more waiting for you. There are dimensions waiting for you to come to know yourself within. And this is practice ground. That's it. Practice ground. So the short answer is, let it be good. Let it serve you. Let nothing pull you off core. It's building my ability to bring forward that which I thought would be brought. I'm here to bring it. You're here to bring it. So that's the short answer. That's all I have to say about it. It's not all I have to say about that. That's all I'm going to say about it right now. Many blessings to you. Namaste.